Hello everyone, my name is Thanbir Irfan Chaudhary from Marshall University, West Virginia, USA. Today, I am going to present our work, Virtual Reality Disability Simulation Reduces Implicit Bias Towards Persons with Disabilities. This work was published in IEEE TVC Journal in December 2019. My co-authors are Dr. Shahnawaz Firdaus from the College of New Jersey and Dr. John Quarles from University of Texas, San Antonio. This research is an extension of our previous work titled Information Recall in a Virtual Reality Disability Simulation, which was published in SEM VRST 2017. The previous work was mostly focused on in which condition, immersive versus non-immersive, the participants can recall information they learn in the virtual environment better. We also investigated how feeling present in virtual environment affects their information recall task. The current research, however, focused on how experiencing disability simulation in different conditions, again immersive versus non-immersive, can influence the participants' bias towards people with disabilities. According to Flower et al., disability simulation is an approach to modify attitudes towards people with disabilities. In a disability simulation, people without disabilities are placed in situations that are designed for them to experience what it is like to have a disability. Several approaches have been implemented to promote more positive attitudes towards people with disabilities. For example, showing films presenting a positive image, educating people using accurate information, interaction between individuals with and without disabilities in an equal status relationship, etc. However, the categories of disability simulation strategies have sometimes been criticized for reported lack of evidence of their effectiveness. Despite the criticism, disability simulation remains a common approach to attempt positive modifications of attitudes regarding people with disabilities. What is an attitude? An attitude is our evaluation of some concepts, for example, person, place, idea, etc. There are two types of attitudes, explicit and implicit. An explicit attitude is the kind of attitude that we deliberately think about and report. For example, you could tell someone whether you like mathematics or not. Implicit attitudes are positive and negative evaluations that are much less accessible to our conscious mind. Even if you say that you like mathematics, it is possible that you associate math with negativity without being actively aware about it. In this case, we could say that your implicit attitude towards math is negative. Virtual reality has been used to change implicit bias in various researches. For example, it's been shown that embodying a black avatar reduces implicit racial bias. It has also been shown that such an effect lasts at least 1 week after the end of the exposure. Multiple sclerosis is an unpredictable, often disabling central nervous system disease that disrupts the flow of information within the brain and between the brain and body. Each year, people with multiple sclerosis gather in different places and participate in an annual fundraising walk. They call it MS Walk. One of the such places is happened to be the A20 Center in San Antonio, Texas, USA, which motivates us to conduct user studies simulating walking or gait problem of people associated with multiple sclerosis. We used Unity 3D, a multi-platform game engine, to design the disability simulation. The environment is a virtual model of A20 Center. The task for the participants was to navigate a path and listen to the audio information about multiple sclerosis in various places indicated by the information board shown in the bottom picture. The camera was in first-person view mode. We have used two types of navigational interface in our user study, a gamepad and a physical wheelchair. Unity has built-in support for gamepad input. All we had to do was capture the input and translate it into the movement of avatar in the virtual environment. For the wheelchair interface, we created a server client-like setup in our application. The wheelchair was mounted on top of two bike trainers, and two Android phones were connected to the wheels of the chair. Our disability simulation Unity application acted as a server, and the two Android phones acted as two clients who sent rotational data of the corresponding wheel continuously. To move forward, the participant had to rotate both of the wheels forward. To take a left turn, the participant must rotate the right wheel and stop the left wheel. If she rotated the left wheel and stopped the right wheel, a right turn would happen. Multiple sclerosis questionnaire was used to evaluate information recall task. We developed this questionnaire using the information obtained from the National Multiple Sclerosis website. Presence Involvement Flow Framework questionnaire is a standard questionnaire commonly used to evaluate presence, involvement, and flow in video games. We are mostly interested in presence and involvement. Involvement is how much attention or focus you give to the virtual environment. Simulator Sickness Questionnaire is a standard questionnaire commonly used to evaluate experience of cyber sickness symptoms in virtual reality. The Implicit Association Test, or IAT, measures the attitude and beliefs that people may be unwilling or unable to report. We have used Disability Implicit Association Test in our user study. The figure shows the list of words and pictures used in the IAT in our user study. Here is how an IAT is conducted. The screen is divided into two sides, labeled on the top. Here, the category disabled person is grouped with good and the category abled person is grouped with bad. When a word or picture from the previous slide comes in the middle, the participants had to press E or I to categorize them as left group or the right group. Here is the same task, but the label on the top is changed. The Implicit Association Test looks at the reaction time of the participant. Based on the reaction time, it calculates a score that represents the participant's preference towards the concept. This is the interpretation of the IAT score. More positive score means preference to the abled person, and negative score means preference to the persons with disability. We, however, mostly interested in the delta score, meaning the change in bias after experiencing the virtual reality disability simulation. Now let's talk about the user study. One of the independent variables in our user study is display type. Two types of display were used in the user study: immersive Oculus HMD and non-immersive desktop monitor. Second independent variable in our user study was navigation interface. Two types of navigational interface were used in our user study: a wheelchair and the gamepad. Combining the display and the navigation interface, we had 2x2 between subject design. The four conditions of our user studies are desktop with wheelchair, Oculus with wheelchair, desktop with gamepad, and Oculus with gamepad. We had a total of 7 hypotheses for this study. Many of them were similar to the previous work that was accepted in VRST 2017. Those hypotheses further validates our previous work. While I am not going to discuss all the hypotheses related to the validation of previous study result, I encourage you to read them in the paper. The most important hypothesis from this study is the sense of presence in our disability simulation will have an effect on the level of implicit association of people without disabilities towards people with disabilities. We recruited 71 undergraduate students. 28 of them were female. Mean age was about 21 years. 11 participants had prior experience with virtual reality. Again, our study was a 2x2 between subject design with these 4 conditions. The user study consists of 7 steps. Step 1. The participants had to fill up an ethics board approved consent form. Step 2. They were given a brief introduction about the system and were told what they are expected to do in the study. Step 3, they fill up a simulator sickness questionnaire. Step 4, they took their first disability implicit association test. Step 5, VR experience in random condition. Step 6, they took the second disability IAT. Step 7, fill up the SSQ, MSQ and PIF questionnaires. Let's talk about the Delta IIT score result for the display group. Main effects analysis showed that the change in bias towards people with disability was greater for participants who were in immersive Oculus HMD condition than the participant in non-immersive desktop condition. However, the high variance in desktop condition indicates that a prediction of Delta IIT score for someone in this condition has far greater uncertainty attached to it than a prediction for the Oculus condition, where it would be a safe bet that the Delta IIT score would be negative. Again, the negative Delta IIT score means higher preference for the people with disabilities. Looking at the Delta IIT score result for navigation interface group, main effect analysis showed that the change in bias towards people with disability was greater for participants who were in wheelchair interface condition than the participants in gamepad interface condition. Again, the high variance of gamepad condition indicates that a prediction of Delta IIT for someone in this condition has far greater uncertainty attached to it than a prediction for wheelchair condition, where it would be a safe bet that the Delta IIT score would be a negative. Based on the result, we can accept our hypothesis that states the sense of presence in our disability simulation will have an effect on the level of implicit association of people without disabilities towards people with disabilities. There are a couple of reasons that explains our finding. First, we believe the higher sense of presence and the unique experience that the immersive conditions in our disability simulation provides to the participants was one of the main contributing factors for the higher change in bias towards people with disabilities. In addition, our finding is also aligned with the previous research that suggests educating people without disabilities about people with disabilities using accurate information is one of the ways to promote more positive attitudes towards people with disabilities. To the best of our knowledge, this study was the first attempt to investigate implicit association towards people with disability in a VR disability simulation. However, we need to treat the interpretation of IIT with caution. The IIT score should not be used as an indicator of prejudice against people with disabilities. Instead, IIT score feedback should be used as an educational device to raise awareness about the implicit bias and how it may affect one's interaction with others. We believe more research is needed to investigate this further. Again, my name is Tanvir Irfan Chaudhary and I can be reached at this email. If you have any query, please don't hesitate to shoot an email to me. I will be very happy to reply to you. Thank you so much for your patience. Have a great day.